Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning, early morning intuitive guidance. Decided I had to drop it down again a little bit. Looking a little too much at my forehead. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum here with some words of wisdom for your day. And we have a really powerful card today, which I'm hoping doesn't scare many of you, but just gives you something to look at, ponder, think about. And then I'm going to add in another piece. Good morning, Peggy. Glad you're here. Welcome. Add in another piece from the book I'm reading, which is called The Artisan Soul. Back it up a little bit. Crafting Your Life into a Work of Art by Erwin Raphael McManus. So, good morning, Lucy. Good morning to the others of you who zoomed past while I was reading the title. Good morning, Linda. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Glad everybody's here, rolling in. And I was a few minutes late starting because I was reading this card thinking, okay, how am I going to talk about this? Good morning, Cindy. Good morning, Gwen. Because this is an incredibly powerful card. And again, it has the potential to scare some of you, which hopefully it doesn't. Good morning, CJ. Glad you're here. I think the second piece that I share will help put the first piece in its place. Good morning, Carolyn. Glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. Everybody rolling in. This is good. So, again, this is kind of a heavy, scary card, but I think it's a wake-up call. That is actually the subtitle of the card, Wake-Up Call. Good morning, Susan. Welcome. And there's my favorite number 8 again. Infinity. Actually, my friend Kayleen and I did our accountability call yesterday, and she was showing me a bracelet she had just gotten at a resale shop, and it was the infinity symbol, which is one of my favorites. So I thought that was quite awesome. So our card today is from the Earth Magic deck by Stephen D. Farmer. So let's just take some nice deep breaths, opening ourselves up for this message. That again is a very powerful message. But the more we can open ourselves to receiving it, I think the better off we're going to be in the long run. So, the card itself is Tsunami, a wake-up call. Tsunami. You can see that gigantic wave headed for shore. And the moon, full moon in the background. We're not at the full moon right now, but Tsunami, a wake-up call. So let's see what the card has to say, and then I'll add the extra piece from the book that I think is helpful. Tsunami, wake-up call. One of the scariest and most destructive of natural phenomenon, along with volcanoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, and tornadoes, a tsunami occurs when a large volume of water is suddenly and rapidly displaced. It's triggered by an undersea disturbance, typically an earthquake or volcanic eruption, that causes a series of powerful waves to travel across the ocean at speeds up to 500 miles an hour. Ever had something happen in your life that hit you and it felt like it was coming 500 miles an hour? That's what we're talking about. Yet on the open ocean, the height of these waves seems so small that they generally pass unnoticed. As these waves, collectively called a tsunami, get closer to the shoreline, their height increases enormously, even as their speed slows to 50 miles an hour. The distance between the waves, or the trough, can be considerable, taking 20 to 30 minutes from wave to wave. If the trough hits the land first, the water recedes rapidly and dramatically, followed within minutes by an enormous wave that initially comes as a surge. This receding is a clear sign of an impending tsunami. I remember a story of this happening somewhere, I can't remember where, but a little girl noticed the water leaving and yelled that there was a big wave going to be coming, and many people moved enough to survive. Good morning, Beth. Glad you are here. So we want to hear those warnings to move, do something different. We can't outrun the wave that follows, but we can avoid being swept up in the destruction by moving to higher ground. And there's the words I want you to hear loud and clear. Moving to higher ground. Let's lift our vibration, shall we? Much of the world is putting along at this very destructive, energetic level. Let's rise above this. Let's transcend this and be in a place where we can afford the energy level that we share with each other to be much higher, okay? So here's the part directed toward us. You are getting a wake-up call. It may be in the form of a significant loss or other dramatic event in your life. How many of us have been talking about this stuff, right? Health issues, etc. Typically one that you were not prepared for initially. You may feel stunned at first, surprised by the unexpected events that are occurring. Yet you also know that it is time to draw back the curtain of avoidance and denial and confront the truth that exists in the subtext of this event. How powerful is that, right? Let's call the spade a spade and deal with it. You are experiencing a real-life drama, so there is no need to amplify it more than it already is. So many of us, I think, have that tendency, I know I do, where when something I consider bad is happening, I lament how terrible, horrible, awful it is, thus making it worse. We need to stop doing that. Acknowledge what is and address it. Acknowledge what is and address it. So we'll talk about that. Often when you look back after something like this has passed, you can recall signs that foreshadowed it happening. There may have been obvious clues that you ignored, or omens that were so subtle they were easy to dismiss as imaginings of the mind rather than the voice of your instinct. There have been many anecdotes about animals operating purely on instinct, picking up on clues, and naturally seeking higher ground before an approaching tsunami reaches the land. To negotiate this wake-up call, listen closely to your instincts, while at the same time seeking the higher ground of spiritual truth. Seeking the higher ground of spiritual truth. So I think that's what we're being called to. That is what we are being called to. And Kayleen and I were talking about this yesterday, how difficult and painful it is when we're working to be at this higher vibrational state, and many of the people around us are hell-bent to stay where they're at. And she had an event where she had spoken of some of her higher order thinking with people who just didn't get it. And they popped into trying to fix what she already had in a really beautiful state. So how do we rise into that place of creativity and soul guidance and intuition and all of that really good stuff when perhaps we're surrounded by people still swarming in the masses, okay? Maybe it's not their time to rise yet, but it's your time. It's your time. So how to do some of this. So I'm going to share a little bit from this book that I think captures a really beautiful description, gives you something to think about today. So again, the book is The Artisan Soul by Erwin Raphael McManus, Crafting Your Life into a Work of Art. And there's other parts in here that I want to share with you over time, but this is the part that really kind of resonated for me. So he's talking about having done a stint. He talked about all of the various jobs he's had over the course of his lifetime, and he's done a lot of stuff. But he was talking about craftsmen, people who, he was at that point, he was in the fashion industry and dealing with craftsmen, leather workers and metal workers and, artisans in their field. And he said that one of the things that always happened was they needed to tell him their story of how they came to be the artisan that they were. And he said many times he was born in, I'm trying to think of where, El Salvador? I'm not sure exactly, but and then emigrated to the United States. But he said many times people would give him feedback that you're far more European than American. And he'd just kind of keep going, and you're far more European than American. And finally he asked, what did that mean? What did that mean? So here's the part of what that means, and then I'm going to read the other part that I think is relevant for all of us. Good morning, Janine. Glad you're here. Every time I met with one of the owners of various manufacturing companies we interacted with, they always said to me, "You are far more European than American." I heard this over and over, and at first I would simply nod and take it as a compliment, although admittedly I had no idea what it meant. I'm an immigrant, so I thought they were picking up on that, and I was proud to be an American, but I wasn't sure what the nuanced distinction was. But when I heard it again on a particular trip, I paused and asked, what exactly does it mean that I'm more European than American? The elderly salesman very quickly and easily explained, American fashion is about figuring out how to sell a product, and a story is contrived so that product will sell. European fashion is always about a lifestyle, and it's always built on the authentic life lived out by the individual who inspires the brand. The fashion becomes an extension of that person's values and lifestyle. A European does not try to create for the purpose of selling. He knows that his unique style will find its own audience when it finds the person who resonates with the story. So here's the part that I think is relevant for us as Americans. Some of you are Canadian. I get that. But just hear this and see how it might apply for you. As an immigrant to the United States, I have so much respect and appreciation for what it means to be an American. But I must confess that there are some European values I admire over American ones. When I've had the privilege of traveling across Europe, I have seen the beauty that comes when a person lives a life reflective of the authentic self. So think about that. How often do we live a life that's reflective of our authentic self? Or how much are we spending time being what people want us to be? Of course, I have seen this many times here as I traveled across the states, but I do think that we are far more susceptible to losing ourselves in the attempt to be what others want us to be, rather than rooting ourselves in the person we were created to be. Though market research invests a lot of money in deciding who we are, living our lives based on the opinions of others will only cause us to lose our souls and our way. I just thought that was so powerful. And for us in this tsunami period upheaval, wake-up call, stir the pot of our lives, taking this opportunity masking as a difficulty, opportunity masking as a crisis, whether it's the health crisis, whether it's the end of a relationship, whether it's mental health issues, whatever it is, taking that wake-up call and running with it, doing what you need to do with it, okay? When we get those wake-up calls, listening to our intuition, what am I being guided to do here? So I have one I'm going to put into effect today, which is I have been hemorrhaging, that's a good word, hemorrhaging enormous amounts of energy to try to meet the needs of all the people who are working on this intentional community project with me, which again has at least tripled in its footprint compared to what I initially started with. It has become a behemoth, all right? In my mind, a behemoth. Other people might think, well, that's not that big a project. In my mind, it's a big, hairy deal. And it has gotten much bigger. And someone commented to me the other day in an email, and I burst into tears after reading it because she nailed it. She said, it seems like you're not getting the support you need. Yup, ding, ding, ding. And my training, my family patterning is flail against the machine, work your ass off, do as much as you possibly can, and then do more. If you're burned out, drink a Mountain Dew and get on with it, okay? That is not going to work for this particular project because this is going to be a multi-year project, and it's going to be a project that involves many people. And many people, it's time. It is time. The wake-up call is here. It is time for many of those people to step up and take their part of this project and run with it. I need to hand off a bunch of stuff. I do. I can oversee a bunch of stuff. I can certainly do a bunch of stuff, but I need to hand off a significant part of what I've been carrying. And so today, an email will go out addressing this. And we have a couple of meetings coming up where I think there will be opportunity to address this. Who would like to take this on? Who would like to be the leader on this part of the project? Who would like to be the person who reports back to us about this? Who would like to? And when there's dead silence, sitting with that dead silence. Because the next person who speaks is going to own that piece of the project. So I can sit there. And I've learned, this is the therapeutic technique I learned way back in Therapy 101. There wasn't such a thing, but sit quietly, smile, count in your head. Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3. Just smiling and letting it lay there until someone else picks it up. I can do this. You can do this. So, what are your wake-up calls right now? Delegation is a mighty tool. Amen and hallelujah. You are right, Gwen, and I need much practice. I will own that I need much practice with delegating. It is not wise to burn oneself out trying to do everything. Not smart. So what's your wake-up call? What's happening? Are you having a health issue? Are you having conflict with others? Are you having difficulty moving yourself to go to your job every day? Where's your tsunami? Where's your wake-up call? And then, let me go back and let's find the words. Where is it? Not ignoring those subtle, instinctual calls that are saying, hey, look at this. Pay attention here. There's a change needing to happen. Such that you listen to the instincts and at the same time seek the higher ground of spiritual truth. Yes, there's the inner peace from the other day. So again, pay attention to the messages. What are we being told here, right? It's right in front of our face. Step into that inner peace. Go within. Draw on the wisdom within. Set the boundaries that are needed. You find the card comforting. Fabulous. Good, good, good. Because I think some people could be scared by this. Oh, crap. Here it comes. No. View it as that message, that wake-up call. Hey, I'm trying to get your attention. I'm trying to help you make the changes that are necessary now before the shit hits the fan. Okay? We don't need fan hitting. That's not a good thing for any of us, right? Yes, absolutely I've got this. And you all have this. Again, Practical Rebels. Look at that title. It's perfect for us, isn't it? So what is that saying? It's saying we're paying attention to the practicalities of our life circumstances, honoring when they are untenable, when this is not workable. Nope, can't keep doing this. This one's got to go by the wayside. Something fundamental needs to change here. All right? So, speaking our truth to power, speaking our truth to whomever needs to hear it, not worrying about whether or not they hear it, whether they handle it well. Good morning, Paula. Glad you are here. We're just about done, but you probably are going to want to go back and listen to this one because we're all getting a wake-up call today. So, what will you do with this wake-up call that you're getting? Throw some things in the feed. So for me, it's going to be delegation. It is time for me to delegate. What about for some of the rest of you? What is it you're being called to pay attention to? And you're kind of going, la, 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 la. What are you being called to pay attention to? And we can all hold big space for each other as practical rebels. What are you being called to do here? What are you being called to pay attention to? What are your instincts saying to you? Warning, warning, pay attention here. So that you can act at that point where, and what the acts that we are picking, the 3D earth-based things we're going to do, all need to be in service of this higher ground of spiritual truth. We are transcending this, walking away from things that are not working and moving in a different way to deal with them. Yes, 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 yes. That's an awesome one. Because when we keep flailing against something that clearly is not working, all we're doing is expending our beautiful energy. When we could be putting that beautiful energy in a different direction that's far more likely to work. All right? So more of you, I'd love to hear some more. Put them up there, because if you're putting it up there, it is going to resonate for many other people, right? It's going to resonate for many other people. Speaking our truth. I just think we have gotten so used to slapping the smile on our face, doing the Stepford wife walk, blah, blah. No, be real. Be who you are. Will you get some backlash? Probably. In the long run, is it still going to have been important that you spoke your truth? Yes, yes, yes. All right? And even if people don't seem to get it right when you put it out there, give them time to chew on it. Give them time to cogitate. 6 months later, someone might come back to you and say, when you said blah, 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 here's what I've thought about and done differently in the interim. You never know when you're going to influence someone else to also seek that higher ground of spiritual truth. So, have an awesome day. Listen to your wake-up call. See what that song is singing to you, and let's see where we end up. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.